This is gonna be a wild take. Sylvie reminds me of Atreus from God of War, where her Loki didn't have structure. Basically, like, her world completely went to shit when she was a kid. So, her look on love, for instance, where she says that love is hate, or maybe it's mischief, completely fits with her character. For her, love is hate. She loves the memories of the people that she's lost. But because she's lost them, all she's left with is hatred for the people who took them away from her. Because it looks like the storyline that they're going to be going with is that the TVA more or less erased her timeline super early when she was a kid. But on the complete flip side of this, because we're only getting like snippets or hints at the beginning of her story. And I feel as though, like, her definition of it all, love is hate, or maybe it's mischief, because that's basically what she's been up to this entire time. And she enjoys that mischief. But then on the flip side of that is Loki's breakdown of what he thinks love is. And I actually had to write it down because it's super freaking dope. Love is a dagger. It's a weapon to be wielded far away or up close. You can see yourself in it. It's beautiful until it makes you bleed. But when you reach for it, it isn't real. Love is an imaginary dagger. The imaginary dagger is Sylvie's response to Loki's description of love. Now, let's break it down. What's Loki talking about? Firstly, let's talk about it's a weapon to be wielded far away or up close. In regards to Loki, there were two forms of love that he always felt. The first form of love, which is the one that is wielded far away, is from Odin. Odin always kept Loki at an arm's distance, where he always felt as though he had to compete with Thor. On the opposite side of that is Frigga. Frigga's love was up close and it was personal. She treated Loki exactly like she would Thor because she looked at Loki more or less as her son, as her own child. Now, when he says you can see yourself in it, it's because he can imagine the love that he thinks that he deserves. Like, he can see himself being loved by Odin and loved by Frigga. But the problem is, for him, he didn't have that self-assurance. By the time he realized that Frigga actually did love him, she was dead. By the time he realized that Odin also loved him, Odin was dead. So he could always see himself being loved by these people, but at the exact same time, outside of Frigga, he never got the validation that he was looking for from either of his parents. Even in regards to Thor, it took Thor kicking his ass multiple times and them getting to the end of their journey before Thor was finally like, dude, like, you've always been my brother. Like, I've always seen you and me fighting against the hordes of the universe together side by side for all eternity, because, you know, that's our bond. And then he gets into it until it makes you bleed, which is the fact that by the time he discovers that all these people love him, he's losing them. Or by the time he finally acknowledges that him and Thor love each other like brothers, he's dying at the hands of Thanos, which super sucks. Like, I hate the fact that, like, at the end of his timeline, like, Loki finally realizes that all these people love him and that Thor loves him and that all he has to do is just be Thor's brother, and then Thanos shows up and just, like, wipes out half the Asgardians and kills him. The last part, but when you reach for it, it isn't real. Now, I feel as though this is the trick, or this is the mischief part of Loki breaking it down, which is he believes it isn't real. He calls it an imaginary dagger, but it's a real dagger. It's a real dagger that he took from Mobius that he can stab people with. He thinks that love is illusionary, that it doesn't exist, because for this Loki, he hasn't been through those scenarios where he discovers he's seen it. He's seen Odin say that I love you, my sons, and he's seen Frigga touch his face and tell him that, are you not my boy? Did I not raise you? Did I not train you? But for him personally, he hasn't experienced it. And that's that disconnect between 2012 Loki and our Loki who ended up dying, which is he thinks that love is imaginary. but love is as real as that dagger. It's as real as he can grasp it if he wants it to be real. And then Sylvie's response is, love is an imaginary dagger. Of course she's the cynic, because like I said, everything that she loved was taken away from her when she was a kid. Like, if Loki is going to continue, every single like episode is going to be like this super dope conversation between both Tom Hiddleston and another character, just talking about love or creation or pondering different aspects of like the universe. I'm absolutely here for it, because every single time the conversation starts happening, like, I am locked and loaded and I am in there. But that's more or less my take on the more or less love is a dagger breakdown that Loki gives to Sylvie, and then like she kind of like scoffs at with her response. But I love that both of their explanations for love reflects their lives. For Sylvie, her love was great, but it was short. As a result, it became hate. For Loki, he never felt, especially 2012 Loki, the variant Loki, he never felt as though he experienced love. For him, he felt that love was nothing more than an illusion, because if we went back to the first Thor movie, he more or less, in his anger, tells Odin how he feels, where I'm just a puppet here, because I can never sit on the throne of Asgard. I'm a fake. I'm a fraud. You have the perfect son, like, in the form of Thor. But that's the breakdown. That's it. I'm loving these conversations, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.